shit, this is a lot of books. You guys are gonna hate me for this one. Restraining order. Over 300 pages for nothing, it feels like. Welcome to. Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you can't tell, we have a lot of fucking books to talk about today. If you guys are anything like me, you have fallen victim to BookTok and the thousands of recommendations being spit at you every single day. And I have read quite a few of, I would say, the most popular books. Here are my thoughts on them. There are definitely some horrible books in here and some great books in here. However, obviously every reader has different preferences in the books they read, so books that I love, you might absolutely hate, and vice versa. But these are my thoughts. We have a couple series and then just some like standalone books. But yeah, let's get into it. Starting off with the Twisted series by Anna Huang. There are 4 books in this series: Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and Twisted Lies. I have mixed reviews of this book series because some books were great, some books I absolutely despise. However, I do like Anna Huang's writing overall. She can write a good romance. I will say that. I mean, unless you live under a rock, you should know what these books are about, but basically it's 4 interconnected standalones between a group of 4 best friends. There's Ava, Bridget, Jules, and Stella. Ava is in the first book. She's just like normal day-to-day girl. Bridget is a princess. Which is kind of ridiculous to say. I believe Jules is a lawyer and then Stella is an influencer. So definitely an interesting dynamic between all of these friends. Twisted Love. My least favorite book of the series. It just was lacking for me. And also Alex, he did not do it for me. That's all I'm gonna say. I didn't mind Ava. However, I feel like as this book went on, it was just kind of like, what trope can we throw into this book now? I will say the beginning of this book started off strong for me. I haven't read it in a while, so I don't like remember my full thoughts on this. But the last like 120, 150 pages, what the fuck? Like literally what the fuck? Like it's Grumpy Sunshine, and basically Ava moves in with her brother's best friend. I don't exactly even remember the reason why she moves in. Throughout the book, a lot of crazy shit happens. She gets kidnapped, and then Alex goes on to low-key stalk her, which I know some people are into like the whole stalker romance thing, but this book was not it. He like stalks her, she knows, and she's just like, he's stalking me, but I can't do anything about it. And then he like sings to her and wins her back. Like, be for real, if a man sang to me after stalking me in another country for months, I would say get the fuck away. That's called a restraining order. That's not called, oh my god. Okay, we're meant to be. So, Twisted Love, no thank you. 2 stars. Next, though, a huge turnaround, Twisted Games. This book, 4.5 stars. I'm not gonna say it's some literary masterpiece, obviously not, but it was so fun. Think about Princess Diaries in a way, like that's what this vibe was for me. So Bridget is a princess, but she does not want anything to do with the crown, royal life, none of that. But something happens where her brother actually abdicates and she is forced to really play into the politics and the royal life and is going to need to be in an arranged marriage or some type of forced marriage. She has a bodyguard at the beginning of the book that she absolutely adores, but he ends up quitting or retiring or something like that. And so a new bodyguard comes in who is named Reese Larson, and he is so sweet. He's a little moody at first, a little bit of an asshole, but this whole book is just like so fun, so far-fetched, obviously. I mean, all of these books are, but like this one especially, so far-fetched. But they're struggling with the fact that like they're never going to be able to be together. First of all, he's her bodyguard, but second of all, she's a princess and he's a bodyguard. So not gonna happen. But the whole romance is so cute. Just everything that goes on in this book, I love it so much. I read it, I want to say I read it in like a day and a half. The way in which they love each other, I think, is so special in this book. This one, 4.5 stars. I think I already said that, but yeah, super cute. Twisted Hate, yet another turnaround. We're going back to square one. This book is where I was like, okay, do I want to continue the series? Even though there was literally only 1 book left. This is about Jules and Josh. And Josh, if you remember Ava from Twisted Love, he's her brother. And Jules is Ava's best friend. They fucking hate each other. Just like I fucking hated this book. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to say I hated this book, but I just really didn't like it. Their relationship, I feel like they had no chemistry. And the way in which Josh did her dirty at one part in this book, is something completely unforgivable to me. Like, what do you mean? If a man ever treated me like that, goodbye. I don't care if he has some crazy come to Jesus moment. Like, goodbye. Peace out. Adios. Get out of here. But yeah, there's like kind of a lot going on in this book. Josh is trying to be a doctor, or he is a doctor at this point in the book. I don't fully remember. And Jules is going to school to be a lawyer. But the whole point of this book is that it's supposed to be like an enemies to lovers and they hate each other. And like, one, I feel like it's looking like not enemies to lovers. It's just a fucking toxic relationship. Not that he was like some crazy bad person. I just think that their dynamic was just awful. 2 stars again. Last but not least, we have Twisted Lies. This book was just kind of like for me. It wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't as good as Twisted Games either. This one is about Stella and Christian, and Stella is like an influencer or something like that, and she's actually like super kind of shy, introverted, and Christian is a dark and broody billionaire. She ends up moving into this like building that he owns, or like apartment building he owns, penthouse. Again, I don't really remember. I read the series quite a long time ago. They were cute. I feel like it was just kind of a lot of like flashy, look at the money I have. I don't know. Like, I love a good billionaire romance, but if that's kind of a lot of what the book focuses on, like I'm rich, it's just kind of gonna fall short for me. And also, as I'm literally like trying to be a fucking social media person, I'm not like the biggest fan of like social media star as the main character. Stella, I did really like Stella as a character. Christian was cool, like he was fine, but yeah, he's supposed to be like big bad guy type vibe, and he like is, but I don't know, something about this book, it wasn't for me, but it wasn't horrible. It was like a 3.25, 3.5 stars. It didn't like completely blow my mind, but it wasn't like Twisted Hate and Twisted Love. So this series, not my favorite. However, other Anna Huang books I've loved, absolutely loved. So if I were to rank the 4 of these books, it would go Twisted Games, Twisted Lies, Twisted Hate, Twisted Love. Series overall, I would say like a 3.2. It's like very specific, but like a 3.2, because I would read this whole series just to read Twisted Games, but also these last 2 books, I just like, we can forget about them. This one's not bad though. This one, please read this book. I love this book so much. Up next, we have the Dreamland Billionaires trilogy. I'm missing my physical copy of The Final Offer. Okay, this is Bella from the future. While editing this, I realized that I keep calling the fine print Final Offer. So the first book in the trilogy is called Fine Print. However, I just keep saying it wrong. So whenever I'm talking about the fine print, there will be a picture up, but I do call it Final Offer in this video, so sorry in advance. I lent it to someone and I low-key totally forgot that I lent it, and I don't remember who. So if you have my book, please give it back to me, because I like my completed book series and I don't have it right now. Dreamland Billionaire series, basically 3 brothers. They inherited the equivalent of Disneyland, basically. Their grandpa died, and in his will, in order to earn their share of the company, they have to complete certain things and like verify it before they get their assets handed to them. Rowan has to do some crazy reimagining of the park or something like that. Declan's task is to get married and produce an heir, which is crazy. And Cal is supposed to spend a summer at their like family lake house before he sells it. So 3 very different tasks. One is definitely the hardest, I mean, in theory, but they all have their meanings to them. Final Offer, I believe I rated a 3-star. It wasn't my favorite, but it also wasn't terrible by any means. Rowan and Zara were cute, but I feel like it was very much like insta love, and that's not totally my thing. He's her boss and she just kind of like works for Dreamland, the company. I don't know, something about the power dynamic was also a little interesting to me, but they were super cute. I feel like it got a little bit boring about halfway through the book, but the ending was great. It ended how I would have wanted it to end, but it just fell a little bit short for me. So yeah, like a 3-star. Next is Terms and Conditions, and this one I gave a 3.5 star, so a step up from Final Offer. And this one, just to go a little bit more in detail, Declan has some type of like assistant, and her name is Iris, and like they get along, whatever. He decides that he's going to kind of have like a contractual marriage, and the girl he's supposed to marry ends up like running off or something where it didn't end up working out, and so he kind of looks to Iris and is like, hey, you're my girl. And she was like, huh? She willingly signs a contract to marry this man. It's a whole complicated thing. She ends up moving in with him to obviously make this marriage look more real. They end up falling for each other. It is quite an adorable little story. I just feel like it did lack a little bit of depth. Not that I'm expecting some crazy deep book, coming from like a romance, but just like a little bit more I was hoping for from this book. Also, a big thing is like Declan is very adamant on like,
we are not going to actually fall in love. This is not going to be real. I need to be a solo man.
He ends up becoming a big old softie for her, which I think is adorable. But yeah, just lacked a little bit of depth for me. So 3.5. Lastly, we have Final Offer. I thought it was so good because this had the depth that I was looking for in terms and conditions. I thought this one was going to be my least favorite because I hate anything to do with like kids, pregnancy, anything like that. Also, on top of that, I felt like this one was going to be dumb because what do you mean the term for him to get his inheritance is to go spend a summer at a lake house? The fuck? So Cal used to be in love with this girl named Alana when he was like a teenager. They were absolutely head over heels in love with each other. Smitten. And something happens and they ended up breaking up. And the grandpa that passed away who owned Dreamland absolutely loved this girl. He was mad that they broke up. So he was like, go spend the summer at the lake house, see what happens. And Alana is still there. And Alana has a kid who just so happened to be born around the same time that him and Alana broke up when they were teenagers. And so when he first runs into her, he's like, what the fuck? I have a kid? I have a kid? You never told me? And she was like, oh, lol, this is my sister's baby. And he was like, thank fucking God. And a big thing about this book is like he is supposed to be selling this lake house and he shows up to the lake house and Alana is living in it and her name is on the deed to the lake house. So he's like, what the fuck is, what's happening? What is not adding up right now? And she's just like, I don't know, but I'm not fucking selling this lake house. A big thing with Cal is that he's an alcoholic. And you see a lot of kind of his internal struggles with alcohol and all of that. And you also see Alana's inner battle of like, do I want to be with a man who's an alcoholic? Happily ever after with these two. And I ate it up. 4.5 stars. Really good. I like this book a lot. Again, ranking because this is a whole series. If I were to rank it, it would go Final Offer, Terms and Conditions, and then Fine Print. Honestly, this series I would give a 4-star overall. I'm not going to say it's my favorite series that I've ever read in my life, but it's a fun read. Definitely recommend if you want like a quick, speedy romance. Also, if you're just getting into reading, I think this is like the perfect series because it kind of introduces a few different tropes as well while also being super fast paced, and it'll like kind of get you hooked from the start. Next up, we have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. You guys are going to hate me for this one. I didn't like it. I loved this much of the book. I ate it up. Ate it up. This little bit, this measly little part of the book ruined the whole book for me. I ended up giving it a 2.5 stars because they hit you with not only a miscommunication trope, but a fucking pregnancy trope. Two of my least favorite things to exist ever. This one takes place at like a hospital, 2 doctors, Brianna and Jacob. And honestly, the start to this book had my heart. It was so fucking cute. So Jacob has really bad anxiety and he ends up walking into a closet one day to eat his lunch because he doesn't like eating where all the other doctors eat and whatever. And he walks in and finds Brianna sobbing in the same closet that he eats lunch. And Brianna really doesn't like this guy because she wants a promotion at the hospital that she's working at. And she thinks she's a shoo-in for it. Then the person who is retiring, who she wants to fill the spot, he ends up saying, oh, well, this guy Jacob is also in the running. And she's like, who the fuck is Jacob? And he's like, oh, a new doctor to the hospital. And she's like, what do you mean? I've been here for how long now? And they're gonna do some random man to fill this spot. So she's super pissed, fucking hates this guy. Then they kind of bond over the fact that he walks in on her crying in the closet, and they start to write notes to each other and leave them in each other's locker things, which I think was so sweet. And I thought it was such a cute little concept, the way she kind of calms his anxiety down. Another crazy part that I low-key am totally forgetting, her brother has really bad kidney issues, I think was the problem. So he needs a kidney transplant and he's like in the hospital kind of getting worse. And Jacob finds out about this and he donates one of his kidneys anonymously. And she ends up finding out and like going to him and being like, oh my God. It was so cute. It's obviously a crazy story, but it was so cute. And there's a whole lot of other little things happening. They end up going to a wedding together and everything is going so smoothly. And then something happens and she finds out she's pregnant. And then she's just like, that's it, I can't be with you anymore. Huh? And there's like a whole miscommunication about that. And it just like ruined the whole book for me. But the first part of this book was so good. Like, I don't know what happened, but it ended up not being my favorite just because of that ending. So yeah, I feel really bad because Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, I love. 5-star read. I thought it was so adorable. I don't know, for this one to be the most popular book of hers on TikTok, I fear it's just wrong. Lastly, in the romance segment of this video, we have Emily Henry as a whole. I've already talked about Happy Place on here. Absolute favorite book of all time, 6-star book. I'll start with people we meet on vacation because I don't have the physical copy. It follows Poppy and Alex, and they have been best friends since college, and it flips between past tense and present tense. Basically, in the present tense, Poppy and Alex are no longer on speaking terms. Every time it goes to the past, it shows 1 year closer to their falling out, and they had always dreamed of like traveling, going on vacation, so they basically made a pact in college to save up all throughout the year and then take a vacation together to a different crazy place. And each like flashback chapter is a different location that they went to and what happened there, and I absolutely love this book. 5 stars. It was so good. It was so cool just like hearing about all these different places. You literally feel like you traveled to those places with them. Like, I don't know, something about it. Also, it takes place in Palm Springs, and I'm a Southern California girly. I grew up going on vacation in Palm Springs every single year for literally as long as I can remember. So the fact that it takes place there just like also kind of added like an extra layer of love for this book because I love Palm Springs, and they talk a lot of really big Palm Springs landmarks, and I'm like, oh my god, I was there. Oh my god, I went there. Oh my god, I grew up going there. So it was super fun. So then Poppy decides that she's going to reach out to Alex one last time and try and rekindle their friendship. And so he's like, you know what? Yeah, let's do one last vacation together. But this whole time you're trying to wonder what happened that made them not be on speaking terms anymore. And you find out in the book, and it's just so good. Perfect ending. Everything is just so great. Alex is just like chef's kiss. He's so sweet. And Poppy is so fun, so like spunky, and like, I don't know how to explain her, but her character is just so cute. Probably like a 5.5 star. Not fully like a 6-star read, but like a 5.5 star. We have Book Lovers, and this book was actually the first like BookTok book that I read ever, and I loved it. It's what got me really fully back into reading. Like I was kind of dabbling here and there, but this book fully I was like, okay, I'm hooked. When's my next book? I need to go shopping now. I love this book. However, like a 4-star. It was good. I just feel like these characters were the least relatable to me. But overall, great book. It follows Charlie and Nora, and they're big time like rivals in the book publishing world, stuff like that. And she decides to take a trip for the summer with her sister while her sister is pregnant, like one last trip together. So she's a literary agent, so she decides to kind of go and work out there in this like small town, and her sister have the most adorable dynamic ever. And Charlie is an editor, so 2 different sides of the book world, but they're both very much involved with each other, and they do not get along at all. And so what are the odds that in this small town that her and her sister are staying in, Charlie is also there, and she runs into him and she's like, are you fucking kidding me? But then they end up falling in love, and it's adorable. I've talked about this in one of my TikToks, but something I love about Emily Henry's books is that she never makes a 3rd act breakup for nothing. And that's something I love about her books, because a big thing for me is like, I hate unnecessary 3rd act breakups. Like, they just piss me off. Like, if it can be avoided, avoid it. Like, obviously that's not how life works, but this is not real life. You can write whatever you want, so why write an annoying breakup? But yeah, 4.5, 4 stars. I can't remember what I said. Last we have Beach Read. I feel like this is like the OG BookTok Emily Henry book. I love this book. It follows January and Gus, and they are both authors living in neighboring beach houses, which is such a fun location. So Gus is a literary fiction author, and January is like romance, mushy, like super cute author. They have like not too much in common, but they did go to either high school or college together. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. So they did know each other, and they're not necessarily enemies, but they're not like close by any means. Both of them are in huge writing slumps. To make writing fun again, they strike up a deal where he is going to try and write a romance book, and she's going to try and write a literary fiction book, because they both are always critiquing each other's writing. He's always like, oh, that's so unrealistic, blah, 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 blah. And she's just like, fucking loser, boring, historical fiction, literary fiction, the fuck? Let me get some romance. So yeah, they decide to switch, and they take each other on like fun little field trips to different locations to get some ideas flowing for these books. So she takes him on little like rom-com vibe field trips, like fake dates basically, and he takes her to interview different people. Yeah, I don't know, their story is super fun. I feel like with Emily Henry books, there's always like a deeper theme to her books than just like romance, so it's super interesting kind of getting like the backstory of these 2 characters as well. Sometimes I do want a good romance book where I can just turn my brain off and read about romance, but I like having depth in like my day-to-day kind of reads. So yeah, love this book. 5 stars. Moving on, I have 2 like thriller mystery books and then 1 fiction book. Starting off, we have The Perfect Marriage. I give this book like a 2.75 stars, I believe. This book was all over BookTok. I was itching to get my hands on this book and read it, and it was literally sold out every time I went to go buy it. And I read it and I was like, huh? this is what y'all were freaking out about? It wasn't bad by any means, like the writing was good. I just feel like the ending was so predictable. It was just kind of like, well, that was pointless. I read over 300 pages for nothing, it feels like. I mean, it was like interesting. I finished it pretty quickly and like I didn't necessarily want to put the book down, but by the end of it I was like, well, I know the ending. Like, do I need to finish? I did finish. Didn't love it. It's about a married couple. The wife is a defense attorney and the husband is like a struggling author. And the husband is just getting tired of his wife and he's like, ugh. So he has an affair. The woman that he was having an affair with died. And he ends up being accused of her murder. And the wife ends up defending him in court. And she's kind of like, what the fuck is going on? My husband murdered someone? But she knows it's not him, or at least really wants to believe it's not him, but is struggling. And she's like, how am I going to make this case? This is my husband. Yada, yada, yada. Book ends kind of really predictable what happened. It wasn't like bad writing, and I will pick up The Perfect Divorce. I just feel like I have a lot of other books that I would prefer to read first. The next book is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This one I heard a lot about. I gave this book about a 3.25 stars. I love a good thriller, and this one, the concept of it was very interesting. It just took a really long time for me to get into it. I don't know how to explain it. This book took me forever to finish. Like, I felt like it just went on and on and on and on. And I'm a fast fucking reader. Like, I'm a very fast reader. And this book took me what felt like years to read. I mean, it was probably like a month. But like for a little over a 300-page book, I feel like it's quite a bit of time. This one also follows a husband and wife, and they're having really bad marriage issues. And the wife ends up winning a weekend away in Scotland. And so they go, and the husband has, I'm blanking on what it's called right now, but it's where he doesn't recognize faces. It's just kind of like a meaningless thing to him. And he's just kind of over her, she's over him. They're having issues. And while they're staying at this house, a lot of really weird, strange things start to happen. The ending, I will say, not predictable at all, but it just took a really long time for me to get into it. Once I was into it though, it was great. That's why I feel like I would give it like a 3.5. I wasn't like hooked from the start, but I also wasn't disappointed either, if that makes sense. This is the one like general fiction book that I have on this list. It's A Little Life. I already talked about this in my previous video, so I won't talk too much about it, but this book was so good. Now I believe it is one of my favorite books of all time. I'm not going to sit here and recommend it to you and say, go read this, go read this, go read this, because it is a very heavy, very emotionally damaging book to read, to be honest. I cried so much throughout this book, and it has very, very, very heavy graphic traumatic content, but it was so good. It follows 4 friends throughout the span of their lives, starting when they met each other as freshmen in college and they're like 18 years old, all the way up until they're about early 50s, I believe. And it was over 800 pages. It was so good. I wish it was longer. I mean, I don't know if I wish it was longer actually. I'll go more in depth into this book in my May reading wrap up because I did just finish it about a week ago, but let me just say 6 stars. So beautifully written. This author she's in the right field. I'll say that. It's such a beautifully written book. I love this book so much. The last 2 books are going to be romantasy books. The first book I'm going to talk about is Shatter Me. This book ruled my For You page for quite some time. And I finally saw that Shatter Me was on Kindle Unlimited and I was like, okay, you know what, I'll pick it up. It was interesting. I feel like I was just very confused throughout a lot of the book. Basically, the female main character, it starts off and she's in a prison cell because it is found out that when she touches someone, it can kill them. It kills them in a very painful, brutal way. And then guy ends up getting thrown into the cell with her and she's just like, whoa, I've been alone for the past however many days. Who's this? Who is this motherfucker? And why is he still in my bed? And just like all this stuff comes out. He ends up just kind of being there to like collect information on her, and she ends up getting out of the cell and given like princess treatment. And she's just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't really know what's happening here. A lot of stuff happens, but it's such a short book. I just feel like too much happened. Granted, I know this is literally like a 10-book series, but I just didn't find myself like dying to read the next book. I'm still going to, and I'm still planning on reading the next books, but it is like a big investment money-wise, so I'm just waiting to see when I'm kind of like in like a slump and want to try something fast-paced. And they're all pretty short books as well, because fantasy books can be fucking long, like 800 plus pages sometimes. Not that I don't love a long book, but sometimes I want to read a fantasy book, but I don't want to get involved in like an 800-page book. I feel like this will be a good series for me when I want something a little bit shorter. But yeah, I wasn't like dying to read it. I do know though that the series really picks up in like the second and third book area. So yeah, I'm also really confused who I'm supposed to be reading for as the love interest. I don't know like I said, a little bit confused here. Gave this one about a 3.25 stars. And finally, last but not least, we have Fourth Wing. This one had to be in here. It just had to. I love this book. It is literally if Divergent had dragons. That's how I can explain it. Oh my god, little Bella was the biggest Divergent fan. Like, holy shit. So this book fed that little fantasy of mine. Holy shit. I don't feel like I need to really talk about the premise of this book. Oh my god, so good. Such a fast-paced read. And god, I just like literally like devoured this book. My friend and I, Buddy, read this one. Buddy read this whole series pretty much. Violet and Xaden are just so badass, to be honest. I feel like sometimes the female main characters in fantasy series can be a little bit like maiden in distress, like I don't know. But Violet is a fucking badass. She wants to work for it, even though she's given an out of the writer's quadrant so many times, and she's like, you know what, fuck you, I'm gonna stay and prove myself, because yeah, I don't know. But she's just like such a cool character. Also, the side characters are so well developed, I feel like, and they're just like so fun. Oh my god, Riddick, I love the comedic relief. Liam, I love him too. Loved him too. Fourth Wing is so fun. Great book. 5-star. 5-star Iron Flame. 4.5-star Onyx Storm. Okay guys, sorry if you noticed an angle change. My phone literally died while I was filming the outro. So anyways, so that was just the tip of the iceberg of the BookTok books that I have read in my couple years of listening and falling victim to the thousands of recommendations of books that come. Something that I have learned though, just because someone else recommended it, if it sounds like something that you're not gonna like, don't read it, because most of the time you are not going to. Now I've definitely learned to do my research on these books before just like kind of blindly buying it. Sometimes I love blindly going and buying a book. However, I feel like with the books that are so insanely hyped, it's definitely like a pretty big gamble. Sometimes it's horrible and you're like, why the fuck is this being hyped? But yeah, I could probably make a million more videos of these BookTok books that I have read. So let me know if you guys would want to see another one of these. I had a lot of fun kind of talking about my opinions on these books. And also like some of these books I read 2+ years ago. So it was fun kind of like scrolling through my Goodreads again and looking through some of these books because I haven't thought about them in forever. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!